We'll be reading out today behind-the-scenes information related to this classic Doctor Who serial, The Seeds of Death. There isn't a huge amount here on the TARDIS data core of a Doctor Who fan wiki, and so as a result we might just have to think of different things to do for episode 4, as well as 5 and 6 of course. So the working title for this story was The Lords of the Red Planet, a bit of a mouthful I think. After the opening titles, a specially filmed model sequence was used as a background for the story title and episode number, showing a scene of the Earth and Moon. The camera pans across the foreground object, then zooms into the background object, Earth or Moon, on which the episode begins. The exception is in episode 3, where the panning stops between the Earth and the Moon, as this installment begins in cislunar space. This is the only story to feature footage of an Ice Warrior on location, where in episode 4, an Ice Warrior was filmed on Hampstead Heath in London. Previously, the Ice Warriors had appeared only in studio. According to Michael Ferguson, the director of this serial, during a break while shooting these scenes, Steve Peters was leaning against a tree in his Ice Warrior costume, minus his helmet, smoking a cigarette. A woman then happened to drive past, noticed this peculiar sight, and was so fixated on it that she hit the back of a police car. An incompetent police officer ought to have known that there was a smoking Ice Warrior nearby. Hey, unit's not going to be happy with that incompetence. Oh, officers of the law. Brian Hayles, I'm not sure if that's Hales or Hales is the correct pronunciation. Let's say Hayles for now. Brian Hayles' scripts differed from his story breakdown in several respects. Kelly was originally a man, assisted by a woman named Mary Burcott, with the former change to the female Gia Kelly. Mary became Brent. The Ice Lords were envisaged as being more humanoid than their warrior counterparts, and the episode 2 would have introduced Slar's superior named Visak. The Martian spores were only intended to erupt after 4 weeks rather than almost instantaneously, and were initially destroyed by concentrated oxygen, possibly in liquid form, instead of water. Brian Hayles was initially under the impression that Fraser Hines would depart this series, and in his original draft, Jamie's role was given to a new companion named Nick. To keep the return of the Ice Warriors a surprise, Steve Peters is credited as Alien in Radio Times for episode 1. Peters had never previously appeared as an Ice Warrior, so his name gave no clues as to the alien's identity. Clever, as opposed to the invasion, wherein the cliffhanger was all ruined by Radio Times. It's the moment they're promoting episode 1. The Cybermen are back! And it's like, oh, the Cybermen are back! The invasion! And it's like, they don't rock up to episode 4. It's not a problem for us in hindsight. Well, we are kind of thinking, I guess, watching the invasion, you do probably know it's going to be the Cybermen invasion serial. You've seen the images, they're quite iconic now. I had before ever seen that serial. It's kind of why I wanted to watch it though, to be fair. And so you're watching the first 3 episodes you begin. So the Cybermen aren't going to rock up yet. I guess people must have thought it was a surprise at the time. Well, it wasn't, but it was intended to be. Patrick Troughton does not appear in episode 4 as he was on holiday during the week it was recorded. You'd think they could, come up with ways around this. Do they tell the screenwriter, alright, so Troughton's not going to, based upon when we want to shoot this, Troughton might be on holiday, so cut him out of episode 4 somehow. It's insanity. It's not insanity, it's just laziness and low-budget television production. Patrick Troughton does not appear in episode 4 as he was on holiday during the week it was recorded. The Doctor is seen only as an unconscious figure, how convenient, with Tom Laird doubling for Troughton with his face out of vision. Sometimes they're seamless with the body doubles because it's in the Sontaran experiment when there's a Tom Baker body double up against the Sontaran at one point. I never would have guessed. Maybe someone else would have if they'd seen it enough times, but they did well there sometimes, surprisingly. This is the last story where a main cast member went on holiday during the production, as the episode count per season was pretty much halved in the following season. Yeah, very true. Very true. Very cool. Yeah, the reason they were employing a body double for Baker was because he'd injured himself while filming that fight scene of the Sontaran. Anyway, the footage of the rocket in episode 5 is stock material of Mariner 4, a mission launched in 1964 to map the surface of Mars. Notably enough, the images taken by it were sufficient to dispel belief in intelligent life on the planet. Yeah. The footage of the rocket launch in episode 6 is also library footage from a Soviet launch in 1948 of an R-1 missile, a short-range copy of the German V-2. It's interesting that people would have thought there was life on Mars at one time, because, I guess we didn't really know what the precedent for a planet which could have cultivated life would be, although a cursory examination of the means with which life is sustained on Earth, which is innumerable factors: oxygen, water, trees, food. There's just so many reasons why any life developed on Earth in the first place. Firstly, if you want to look at the origins of life, you require a vast oceans, which Earth has, which no other planet in the solar system had. I think some people have theories about Europa, Jupiter's moon, or maybe that's just Arthur C. Clarke in a 20 to 10 a year Make Contact novel. Anyway, the point I'm making is, I'm very curious as to, there was the belief in, maybe serious scientists never considered that there would be life on Mars, because how would life develop in the first place? I mean, one's logic could be, oh, well, we have ecosystems on Earth which are rocky and life inhabits there. It's like, well, they've evolved from water water creatures which lived in the ocean. I mean, whatever. This is just me thinking out loud, probably annoying everyone. But wait a minute. You know what this means? I've spoken long enough that I haven't read out all of the behind the scenes information, and we're 6.5 minutes nearly into this, so just so I don't get busted for copyright, we'll just read out the information, the rest of it, next time in episode 4. Clever AOD. Not really, just, like the Doctor Who production sometimes, especially when they need actors to go on holiday. Lazy. You don't want no money, you don't want no friends.